the biggest thing that has changed overnight, I think, is the information coming out of the government for El Paso. Federal government drew a 10-mile circle over a major American border city and said nothing flies below 18,000 feet. So your private jets, your bigger jets, everything like that are going to fly above 18,000 feet. But nothing is going to land. Okay. So you have any idea. Temporary flight restrictions happen all the time. The president travels, they shut down the airspace. Okay. There is a wildfire, they shut down the airspace. There is a hurricane, they shut down the airspace. But that usually happens for a very limited period of time. I mean, we're talking hours, maybe in a natural disaster, a day or so, okay? But 10 days? 10 days, so you have any idea, we look back in history, and the only time we can see this happen was when it was happening nationwide, and it was 9/11. There is no other time in American history where since World War II, that's as far as we went, since World War II, there has not been a single city shutdown of an airport for security reasons for 10 days. Never happened, okay? That's all the government said this morning. Special security reasons. That's it. Okay. That's a little disturbing. What does that mean? Now, an hour ago, the government came out and said, Ricky, what did they say? Can you give me the exact verbiage?
I will try to read this as quickly as I can. They lifted it within the last hour, saying that everything was kosher. That is not a direct quote. I can give you a new direct quote, if you like. That just happened in the last 18 minutes.
Okay.
Trump official told Fox News that the lockdown came in response to Mexican cartel drones that breached U.S. airspace. And here's a direct quote. Mexican cartel drones breached it. The Department of War took action to disable the drones. The FAA and DOW have determined there is no threat to commercial travel now. So what does took action to disable drones mean?
We took them out.
Okay.
And this was, my guess is, I mean, let me bring Jason in, because Jason, you're a military guy. You focus on military intelligence. And so I don't want to go too far out on a limb. But when I heard this, the thing that is important here is that El Paso is not just any city in Texas or America. It is sitting right at the most significant border crossing in the hemisphere. Okay. It is also near Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss is 1 million acres for the Army. And what's really important about Fort Bliss is it is the rapid deployment for Joint Mobilization Force. So when you're moving tanks or anything for the Army, you have to move a lot of stuff. It's all happening with Fort Bliss. Okay. It also facilitates all joint tasks. There's one other thing about this area. We have talked about this for years. The IRGC, the Iraqi Republican Guard, the terrorist organization, they have been in Venezuela and in Mexico working with drug cartels, mainly with their proxy, Hezbollah. We have the Crown Prince of Iran on here in about an hour and 15 minutes. And you will hear from the Crown Prince what he is expecting to happen in the negotiations. And I will tell you my opinion as well on what I think is going to happen on the negotiations. This is President Trump just making sure that the world knows we tried everything we could to deal with them. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. My first thought was, is this the drug cartels, along with any kind of help or, anything from Hezbollah or Iran, doing a counter on us? Don't know. Could have just been a mistake, but I'm glad the Trump administration is all over this today. watch what happens in El Paso in the next couple of days. Let's see if there's more news. Jason, comments on this?
Yeah, I think it's all up. Just all we're really left to do here is speculate, because we were giving no information whatsoever. So there's speculation on that. The reason why that angle rings a little true to me is because Mexican cartels are not going to disrupt business in a way of, provoking a U.S. military response on the largest, most pivotal corridor for them. It's not good business. It makes no sense at all. So to me, and I'll give you another counter to this, but to me, it makes more sense if you put a 10-day restriction on a timeline, that there's a very specific threat that they got forward knowledge of, and they were trying to get ready for it and get out in front of it. Now, all of that, the counter argument, all of that blows up when you consider the moron card. There is always a moron card, and someone could have just, instead of saying we're responding to something, in the immediate, but instead of saying that, they threw on the 10-day restriction for some random moronic reason. So it's all possible someone's just an idiot.
I mean, how does that possibly happen, Jason? I mean, you don't close down. I mean, that hasn't ever happened except for 9/11. That has never happened. So who would have the authority on their own just to go, I got to close the airspace for 10 days? I mean, wait, where's Tim Walz? Where's, I mean, who would do that? Who would have the authority to do that?
Yes, I would say probably somebody in the FBI or DOJ, something like that would transmit that to the FAA. Or there could have been the moron card somewhere within the FAA that just clicked the wrong button. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. We're trying to make sense of it. But to me, it's a very specific threat, whether that's asymmetrical warfare they're getting ahead of before regarding Iran or whatever, or to me, that just random cartel drones make zero sense. Because why provoke and screw up your business over a commercial drone to scout a route? It makes no sense whatsoever. So I don't think the full story has been told, and I don't know if we will get the full story, but we'll definitely be watching.
We have to start getting we have to get full stories. We have to. We cannot operate in this secrecy anymore. I want it secret for national defense, whatever. But at some point, we have to know what's going on in our country, because we just do. There's not enough trust in the country to just operate like this. And luckily, I think on the side of conservatives, we gained our trust back for the military. Hegseth has come in and set the military back on track. And so we've regained our trust to some degree with the military, but it's not blind trust. The good news is there's no National Guard being deployed. There's no evacuation. There's no sirens. There's nothing. It happened at 4:00 in the morning. Don't know why. Could be an idiot card that somebody pulled the trigger too soon or too hard and, closed it down for 10 days. But this one is puzzling, to say the least. Jason, do you think, can I go down a conspiracy road with you?
That's my best road to go down.
I know. We have been trying to get the Crown Prince. Ricky, I'd like you to chime in on this too. We've been trying to get the Crown Prince for weeks. Today is the day that everybody's meeting, and Benjamin Netanyahu comes to the White House tomorrow. And we're going to be finding out if we could do a deal or not. I personally don't think we're doing a deal. I mean, I can't imagine the deal that we could get that the president would go, okay, that was worth them slaughtering 37,000 people and us just going, okay. I can't imagine that. I think this is just to tell the whole world we've done everything we could. We tried. We exhausted every avenue. Because we also cannot be responsible for the downfall of Iran. That has to be with the people. But we can support them and show them that, we have an armada off the shore. Is it a coincidence all these things are happening and then we get the Crown Prince of Iran this week?
Do you want me to put my Stu hat on or Ricky conspiracy theorist?
So Stu, I know what Stu would say. Get over it. Of course not. Okay. And he might be right.
I think it's interesting that one of the highest profile Iranian dissidents and critics of the current regime, whose family is targeted for death, I'm sure, by the regime, tells you at the end of the interview, which is coming up soon. We taped this yesterday. You'll hear it shortly. That he was grateful to you for changing all of your social media avatars to the original Iranian flag that existed before the regime came in. He is the second Iranian dissident that you've had on this program that called that out and said that people on the ground in Iran have noticed that you did that and they appreciate your show of support. What I didn't appreciate about that is that he basically just told the regime that you're standing with the Iranian people, and he just put a big target on your back.
Let him. Right is right. It was a little shocking. It was a little shocking that the way he handled me, it was like, oh my gosh, do you remember when we were getting people out of Afghanistan? And I think I've told this on the air. I hope I have. But the State Department was putting up all these roadblocks. So we had to get people out through Pakistan. No other country would let us go through. Well, the Prime Minister of Pakistan at the time was about to be overthrown, and he wanted friends in Washington. And so our group contacted him and said, hey, can you help us get these people out? Can you get these American people out? And he said, I get a call like an hour later. Glenn, he said he would do it, but only if he could talk to you. And I'm like, how does he even know who I am? What? So we talked to him, and he just wanted assurance that I would remind people in Washington that he was, he had helped us on some things because he knew his time was limited. It's weird how, I just showed you last week, our insiders for Torch, we had 36 nations, people in 36 nations that were listening to us around the world. Today, I just counted. The United Nations has 193 nations in the United Nations. Right now, as of week number 2 with the Torch, we have people in 142 nations listening to this show right now. That's nuts.
I love it, and it makes me very nervous because I looked at some of those nations, and they are, sometimes designated as not being allies of the U.S.
What a nice way of saying that.